5, 4,
Four,
3,
three,
2,
two,
1.
one.
You are listening to the Overwatch Rundown, a weekly podcast covering the latest in esports scene of competitive Overwatch. Today is December 5th, and we are covering the Nexus Cup. Jackson, things are building up finally. We're here in December, and finally Nexus Cup is here. It's not the end of Nexus Cup, but it's the start of it, and it's also leading up to the preseason in Overwatch League. So that means there's a lot of news coming out of that as well. And those two things
Levels.
could be a whole podcast in and of itself. But
I'm listening to your intro, and literally all you said was Nexus Cup. So there's not much going on right now.
well, I mean, it's all about what's coming. Building the hype, Jax. Building
Okay.
the hype. That's that's what we're in right now. In fact, today we had Nate Nanzer on Reddit with his overview, his AMA. Brief AMA. Let's be honest, Jax. I'm not sure you saw how many questions he
Oh,
answered.
if you look at the Discord, which I think we have to put a link to it up on our Twitter page, Lepelos.
I can link
Um,
that in
but
chat here
I,
too.
I
But
I actually said, this was a rather short AMA. I think he answered maybe 5 or 6 questions, and to be honest, some of them he didn't even answer. He did the typical answer but not answer. Um, and the biggest thing that wasn't even asked, Lepos, because we, and by we I mean the people, the viewers, didn't even know or didn't even think that we had to ask was, is the Overwatch League going to be on Twitch?
yeah,
I mean, you
yeah, I
take a
think
look at what League of Legends, Lepelos, they had their championships not too long ago. I think I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning watching it with another, over a quarter million people. Um, and so come to find out, that perhaps competitive Overwatch Reddit is wrong. Perhaps that there is a chance that the Reddit detectives are wrong, Lepelos. But as it stands, it's looking as if the preseason, which starts tomorrow, will not be on Twitch.
I mean, we talked about this briefly on the Discord chat, but I think that's a mistake. I know you think it's a mistake. It's a mistake. Can we call it a mistake if that's what they do?
Lepelos, the
We'll see.
last
We'll
time
see
they
if
did
that's what
this,
they've done. But
the last time they did this was almost exactly a year ago. For I think it was probably dang near to the day almost. MLG Vegas 2016, Lepelos. We had it shown on YouTube, and I think it was on MLG, the MLG website. The quality was poor and the viewership was down because no one knew anything about it. Now this time it's Overwatch League, so Blizzard is hopefully going to hype it up on the launcher and things like that. But
yeah,
I just I
it's
don't understand it, man. Like why is Blizzard feeling the need to control everything about this?
part of me thinks this is an MLG trying to get control
I mean,
over
Blizzard owns MLG levels.
that.
Activision bought MLG.
That's what they want. Like they want it all to be on their service. They want to make it a go-to service. And you know what? With net neutrality going away soon,
Oh
Jax.
boy.
Not that we're a politics show, but if you
Right.
look at likelihood of what's going to happen, they want to basically have their own service that they can say like, hey, we're trying to compete with like existing markets of sports. We're the go-to place,
I didn't even
not
consider that.
Twitch.
I didn't even think net neutrality didn't even cross my mind as being a possible.
I'm
I
not
think you're
saying
being
it's
a
a
little
driving
generous
reason.
here, Lepelos. I
I'm saying it's part of a suite of reasons. Another being
Okay.
they don't want to give advertising revenue to Twitch of any sort, right? Like they would rather keep that in house. That's a Blizzard thing to do. Blizzard just basically wants everything coming under its umbrella, right?
I
Like
mean, Lepelos,
they've
these
tried.
owners have paid $20 million. They're going to want to see some return on their investment.
Yeah.
So
And
you're saying that part of that is the advertisement that since they're not on Twitch, they don't have to share it with Twitch. They can control the advertising revenue sharing completely in house and not have to worry about that.
well, I want you to consider the following, right? When they're going to however they're going to do it. If they have it on MLG, which again, this is still, you know, uncertain about whether this is the case or not. But
Right.
they've announced in Nate Nanzer's thread the ability to get tokens for your team. So the likelihood is you're gonna have to connect your accounts slash share information about you watching Overwatch League. So you're all
Lepelos.
your advertising and personal data can easily be shared and targeted very well to these regional groups. So that's something you wouldn't be able to do, I don't think, to the
The
same
connection
degree
is
with
already
Twitch.
there though, Lepelos, right? Like us, the Twitch Prime, Amazon Prime users, right? We got our free legendary loot box for Overwatch. We got our free loot boxes, 5 regular loot
Yeah,
boxes. All these other games do, the Twitch drops, as they want to say, where you connect your game, whatever game you're playing at the time. Like recently, I've been playing Warframe, right?
yeah.
I connected my Warframe to Twitch, and I got all the Twitch drops and things like that. It's already here, and he talked about, that they see that other games are doing this, because somebody was asking, can if we watch Overwatch League, will we like be able to accumulate the league points to buy the league gear, something along those lines. And the way he talked, Lepos, made me think that, okay, that they do have that they're thinking about it because they see other games doing it. And then now this comes out and I'm saying, I'm just
Are they fighting uphill to try and develop a new platform to deliver?
I didn't
So
follow
in
Call of
order,
Duty Lepelos, but one of the first things that I saw in the thread is that MLG tried this before with Call of Duty, failed, and then went back to Twitch.
yeah, and I think likelihood is it will fail here as well. Like it will likely fail. But as with everything that Overwatch has been doing slash Blizzard, they're going to be tossing money at it because I think they, as a company, are quite rich in cash,
I
and
mean,
hopefully are trying to transfer it into like I think that's their overview is they want to create their own broadcasting system, essentially,
they're
not only for Overwatch but to basically use Overwatch as the lead-in for future ones too. So we'll see
Lepelos.
what
There
comes from
there
that.
was a thread again on the competitive Overwatch Reddit. Again, validity, I have no idea. I trusted my Reddit detectives, where a guy was saying he knows someone who in China wanted to license it, right? But they couldn't. The only place you can watch it is on OverwatchLeague.com. I mean, if you have people wanting to license your programming to air it on their own platform, Lepelos, like
Yeah. I mean, I think this comes under the control of Blizzard trying to craft everything to their
I
vision,
mean,
right?
it's
And
it's it's concerning because we talked about last week, how contenders is changing the regional tournaments that we've grown to enjoy.
yeah,
OG and Apex. It's not really OG and Apex anymore. It's contenders Korea or something like that. OPC, OPS, all changing. And you say control, and it's just I have here under on our schedule under the discussion topics, in Blizzard we trust, because you talk about control, and this doesn't have anything to do with Overwatch. The Overwatch League players, Lepelos, it's being rumored that Blizzard is not going to allow them to stream whatever they want. They're limited in the games that on their own personal channels that they can stream.
as
But because they
professional
signed these
players.
Overwatch League contracts, they're tied into that.
Yeah. So I mean that I understand Blizzard. I'm not saying I agree with them, but I imagine here Blizzard's view is we want to promote people playing competitive ladder, not other ladders, not the pro pug scene. We don't want to promote that. We want to say, hey, these people play the game just like you and me, right? Like
But
that's
what do
their
they want to play? A
marketing goal.
different game, Lepelos,
That
some PUBG,
I,
some Fortnite Battle Royale.
I
They
mean,
can't stream it.
they can't stream other games. Like, is that
This
part?
is what is being. This is what
Ooh,
again. The Reddit
yeah.
detectives are still doing the research right now, Lepelos.
Well,
But
I here
this is what's
here's
being.
the deal. If I was players, I would form a fucking union right now and say
Well,
like you're going to lock us into this kind of a contract. More money then, please. Like I'm sorry, $50,000 a year to forego. Like I
150K Lepelos, Sinatra.
well, I'm talking about the minimum that they have. That like because, let's be honest. Any owner does not want a players union coming into a league. But
Of
I'm
course not.
sorry if they're going to treat players like this, where they implement controls, the players need to start talking immediately.
Didn't see us go through this whole union thing and other issues like earlier this year.
Yeah. Well.
Like I said,
Anyways, that's getting into
the
something a
discussion
bit
topic
different. But
Lepelos in Blizzard we trust, and I mean we don't have a choice, right? Like we literally have no. There are no other options but to trust them. And this is my first esport title that I've actually gotten into, but I read the reports of other Blizzard endeavors into esports, Lepelos, and it's got me questioning if they really know what they're doing here. Um, I hope so because I enjoy Overwatch. I think the future for Overwatch professional scene is quite bright, but I worry about it, man. Just
I
to be
do too.
honest.
I mean, to go into something even more specific in Nate and Andrew's thread today, another example of why I'm very concerned with their picks of rules and how they run things. Substitutions, Jax. I want to bring this one up. I
Okay.
brought it up on our
Yeah,
chat, but
I
I'm going to bring
remember.
it up here just briefly. The fact that you have to make your substitution known no later than the end of round one. Now, what constitutes round one on a map
So I
can
mean,
can vary. Is that attack round one, right? Like,
let's just say
I
if
don't know.
if they were using the OGN format, right?
Yeah,
Round one is King of the Hill. I mean, you can't honestly expect the coaching staff to be able to decide what they want to do after the first round of a King of the Hill.
yeah. Like they
Maybe
don't
the
know if
first
they're gonna
complete
win.
round, like the
Yeah.
first map. So I guess that would constitute a round. Um, which okay, at that point,
I don't like that. Here's my view of it. It should be as soon as you're like you should have like a minute within the time that you're done the map, right? Like
right.
you should have that time to basically say, "Hey, we're going to have a substitution right now," right? Like you can't be sooner than that, and
I mean,
you
look,
can't take too long to do it, but it needs to
I'm,
be
I'm,
within
I'm,
that time frame.
I'm reading one of his posts right now. He says coaches will be watching matches just off the stage
Yeah,
in a dugout. They will be able to talk to their players in between maps. He says they're going to show us some more behind the scenes content of the dugouts pretty soon. So, if the coaches will be able to interact with their team in between maps, that seems like the perfect time. Just like,
also, just so we can get this correct terminology right now, it's not a freaking dugout. I mean,
I'm reading what the man's. He
I know what he's
literally wrote
saying, but he's
dugout.
wrong. You're not digging anything out. I'm sorry, it's above ground. It's a bench, my friend. It is a
We
bench.
haven't seen it though, Leplos. Here's the
Dude,
deal. I mean,
they're
he
not
says they're
going
gonna
below
show it. Look,
ground
maybe
to create a
tomorrow we'll
dugout.
see it.
They're not creating a dugout here. That's a baseball term. That has no place here. Stop using it.
I mean, Lepos, if we're using baseball terms, then the coach, the manager comes out, signals to the bullpen, we want to make the change, right? It's just boom, right there on the spot, you make the change.
See,
You
at
don't have to
least
say, well, okay,
Jack's
we're in the middle of an inning, I don't want to change now and wait till the end. You don't do that,
at
Leplos.
least the bullpen would have made more sense for the people on the side, not dugout. Okay, anyways, well, I'm getting nitpicky here, but my point here being, I like the fact that they're going to be right there. It's going to be disappointing if they can't make those decisions between maps, right? Like like here's the deal. It's sort of the winner team's advantage, right? Like as the team that loses gets to pick a map, the winner team should have the right to, or I guess they're doing home away, right? The home team should have the right to choose their substitutions last. Do it the hockey way when it comes to substitutions. Home team gets the advantage to choose who their substitutions are last between maps.
I mean, so looking at what he wrote, Leplos, there can be multiple substitutions.
I like
Um,
that. I like that.
So you can substitute Seagull out because it's not a fair or Genji friendly map, and you bring in, I mean, I just bring up that because I'm looking at the Dallas Fuel. I'm saying you're not going to sub out effect Leplos because Tracer is universal. So if you're looking at a 2-2-2 DPS, situation, you got Taimu, you've got Seagull. Like, who else are you going to sub out?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is really interesting to me.
Maybe you go 1-3-2 and you want to bring Seagull in and take somebody out, right?
1-3-2. So are you saying Dallas is going to run XUC on Winston maps and Coco and Reinhardt maps?
No, where I'm not trying to get into the theoreticals,
Okay.
but what I'm trying to say is I do like the multiple substitutions are being there, particularly if your team has multiple people that might be trained better on some maps.
Right.
What I'm trying to also say is for home, like, because they've already said they're doing home team, away
Right.
team, right? So you need to give the home team the advantage as well for substitutions and say like you can react to how that enemy or like how your opponent is substituting it. So you see Seagull coming out, Jax, right? And you're like, oh, well, we just hired AKM. Let's put him in the game so that we have a hit
AKM
scan.
just signed by Red Bull Esports Lepelos
Okay.
today.
Well, that's good. That's good news for him. But
So he's getting a little money in his pocket. But just looking at what he wrote again for the substitutions, so it sounds like each map will be different. So if it is King of the Hill, then after that first round, whatever it is, you will have to have made your decision
Yeah,
to substitute at that point and
no.
tell the designated league representative that that's
Horrible
what you want to
idea.
do.
It's stupid.
I
Add it to the list of stupid ideas that they've had,
Lepolos, a
Jax.
little harsh,
It
Lepolos, a little
is. No, I'm
harsh.
sorry. Like, it's doing away with coaching in the game, which is, you know, already somewhat limited when like, he's trying to sell it up saying they have, quote unquote, a dugout that they can talk on the side.
Lepolos,
I'm
what?
glad that they can talk on the side between matches, but have a bigger effect here. You have rosters of 12 people, allow them to be used, and allow the shifting of players coming in to be part of that selection.
Lepolos, what if I remix after the first round of King of the Hill stubs his toe on the second round and can't be substituted out?
I don't know. I think you're a little screwed in that case, Jax.
Okay.
Because apparently you can't make those kinds of substitutions. Do you think faking injury is going to be a part of Overwatch, Jax?
Lepolos, well, I mean, but
Are we
okay,
doing the soccer route?
what if you're the Florida Mayhem, Lepolos? You only have 6 players on the team.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe you can play with your feet on
All
or
right.
something like
Well,
that.
enough Overwatch League Lepolos, enough Blizzard. Let's get into the only thing going on right now. If I can't say the only thing, the biggest
The
thing going on
top
right
tier
now.
thing going on right now. Let's put
Is
it
it
that way.
top tier Lepolos?
It's tier 2 or soon to be tier 2. It's the only thing going on right now, so it's tier 1, right?
Okay.
Until Overwatch League preseason hasn't started. So technically, Nexus Cup
Is the
2017.
preseason above the Nexus Cup?
It's
Nexus
over.
Cup is an actual This is a show. This is preseason exhibition, Lepolos. It
But
has
you're
no
talking
bearing.
tiers though, right? Overwatch League tier 1 as soon as that comes out, even in preseason tier 1. So
Okay.
Nexus Cup going to be tier 2 as of next week. But here we are in the group stages of it, Jack. So a lot of games being played over a short time, and Jax, they've actually done a pretty good job of keeping it brief by
I like it, Lepolos.
limiting the series to three best of 3. But Jax, you say you like it. How about this? Every first map, pretty much Junkertown. I think it was enforced to be Junkertown.
I
if I'm
actually
not
had
mistaken.
this in my notes for later on when we were going through it. But since we're here, this is something that Blizzard needs to take note of, because it's happened in other events. If you want to have a designated map pool, which Nate Nanzer said today they will have, Lepolos, and the teams have already been made aware of what that map pool will be for the first round of games in the Overwatch League. That's fine. You can have a set map pool. Vary it, Lepolos. Do not give me Junkertown first for every game. Do not do it.
Yeah.
That is terrible.
Well, if that was not bad enough, the teams also seem to like selecting Lijiang Towers a number of times too. So don't worry, guys. When we're going through our notes here, you can probably listen to one set and be happy for the remainders off of that. No, in all seriousness, why don't we talk about the group stages? Some of the games we watched, and then we'll talk about the results in that order.
A lot of games over the last few days, Lepolos. I myself focused on. So for those who don't know, where the group stage is already over. I focused on the teams that finished first and second in the group. A limited amount of time, Lepolos. I can't watch. I mean, I could watch all 4 games if I was able to find them, but this is another one of those tournaments not being broadcasted on Twitch, Lepolos. No easily accessible YouTube VODs. I had to use secondary sources that may or may not be actually approved by the promoters of the Nexus Cup.
But while we're talking about that, Jax, at least we should give a shout out to the casters that may or may not have had approved things, at least for their efforts, though, because they did put some effort into them. That was Legaday and Ham Tornado with 2 underscores.
Level was fantastic for me, man.
Yeah,
It allowed me. I was actually on Reddit, and this guy had a link. I was like, wait a minute, they have link to VODs, and it said English cats. I'm like, there was no English casting, and then I clicked the link, and there's English casting. Not that I really needed the casting, I just needed a link to the VODs. Other the casting, it does. Being able to listen to English is easier for me than having to distinguish Chinese.
Yeah.
Although, sometimes it is comical, such as the OPS, season 1 finals, Torbjorn, that was
It's still a classic call.
memorable for me. But Lepolos, I'm looking at Group A right now in the Nexus Cup, 2017 Annual Finals. I'm looking at Team Kongdu Pantera, Runaway, LGD Gaming, and Lingan Esports. This is a stacked group.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it was going to be a difficult group to get out of. Jax, why don't we talk about teams 1 and 2, the matchup?
Okay.
Their Team Kongdu, Panthera, and Runaway taking on each other in this Group A. They ended up number 1 and 2 here, Jax. This was a matchup between these two teams to see who could remain undefeated, essentially. So let's go ahead and talk about that game. Then we'll talk about Group A's results in full shortly
Okay.
after. So, Jax, I mentioned before Junkertown map 1 here. This one actually ended up being pretty close overall between Kongdu Panthera and Runaway. And also, it was the first match I watched between at the Nexus Cup, so first time seeing some new
Yeah.
meta come out. And here, the seriousness of Widowmaker really seen. Also, the Rissa on Junkrat. Uh,
Ugh.
Rissa Roadhog, a
None of
common
us. We saw
theme.
this previous week in not previous. We saw this in the what was that tournament we watched from Australia? The bi-monthly brawl.
Yeah,
Where Kings Gaming and Dark Side. We actually saw a lot of Roadhog. I forget the name of the tank for Kings Gaming, but he played Roadhog the entire time, and we're like, is Roadhog coming back into the meta? Well, on this map levels, he appears to be coming back into the meta. The thing that I don't want to see become meta, and people might disagree with me, is the Widowmaker. Um, by the end of me watching all these VODs, because I watched them today, Leplos, I was tired of seeing poor Widowmakers. As you know, I feel as if I've coined the term Widow's Trap, and it just seemed as if everybody was falling into it. I mean,
you're absolutely
maybe
right.
you feel differently, Lepelos, but
No,
for
I
me,
mean I
this
can
has
see the
been some
use of it.
subpar Widow across the entire tournament.
I mean, yeah, the Widowmakers saw a lot of use on Junkertown specifically, Jax. We're not going to theory craft here. We're just reporting that it happened. Was it better than other picks? I mean, maybe better than the Bastion picks that we saw like once or twice, Jax. I'll say that. But
We've seen
here,
Bastion work here though, not in this
well, in this
tournament, but
matchup here, let's get into
yeah,
it. Runaway,
okay.
Kongdu Panthera. What's starting off here? Well, DK on the Widow defensively here, doing decent work. But more importantly, I want to say DDing on his Junkrat, doing a lot more work here. Um, as Kongdu Panthera here doing some decent defense on that A point, able to buy some pretty good time there. Although it seems like the thing on Junkertown, as soon as you get some momentum, as Runaway did, they managed to get into the third phase without
That
much of
second
a
phase is like,
yeah.
is it indefensible? I mean, there are times where I zoned out for a little bit. I always go back and rewatch it, and I'm like, wait, did they already get through the second checkpoint? Because it happened so quickly, Lepelos. I can't think of anyone in this tournament who made a solid stand there. For me, D Ding,
Yeah. He
Junk
had
is Junkrat OP? I
he
mean,
can
or
his
is Runaway just unable to meet the Junkrat check, Lepelos?
it's definitely he was left to do a lot of damage here. I mean, I'll say this: in the third phase, he had 2 fights where he basically started off the fight with 2 kills on Rip Tires. I think two
Un
fights almost in a row that happened. That you can't do much when a Rip Tire is out. I'm sorry, like even pros are struggling to kill that thing. Is it OP? Yeah. You know what? You know what's OP about Junkrat? It's not the bombs. It's not the Rip Tire. It's the fact that he has 2 concussive mines that can do
Fantastic level.
serious damage, and that is the biggest issue,
I mean, it's
right?
not
Like,
just the damage levels. It's the positional advantage that it gives. Before, you could use it to damage or you could use it to move yourself.
yeah,
Now you use one to move. Like if it's a Pharah, you use one to jump into the air. You use the second one to kill the Pharah.
yeah,
And so Pharah's, previously she was the direct counter to Junkrat, and while she still is a counter, I mean, he can fight back a little bit more here. But for me, I'm looking at it, Lepelos, where Runaway, their offense just anemic. That for me, that was the best way that I could describe it. I came in here wanting to see what Hacksaw has gotten up to, Lepelos. I,
not
I,
not a lot, not a lot. I'll put it this way: even with Tizzy getting a huge 3 kill self destruct, your favorite, I know, 1 kill after it though. I'll point that out as well. So he did work. It was going into OT Jack, still not enough off of that. Like,
they had to fight
you're
for
right,
every meter, Lepelos,
it was
and
a struggle.
you talk about riding momentum, and it's like they couldn't. So they rode the momentum through second, but like as I said before, everybody has done that. In the final third, I'm thinking, okay, when Tizzy hits the 3K random self-destruct, I'm thinking Runaway is going to walk it in now. Very next fight, They come, Kongdu Panther come back out. Hacksaw subpar Dragon Blade throughout the entire map. Lepelos. He got nothing really good from him, and they're held to 2 points and 64.4 meters. I mean,
Yeah. We'll go back to attacking phase, though, for Kongdu Panthera here, Jax. First thing in my notes here that I want to mention, they basically have a quote-unquote modern poke battle. And I think if you remember this, it's hard to describe because it's not like the classic poke where, like you had shields up and you were poking around the shields and stuff like that. It was like, no, it was like Widowmakers trying to get shots and missing them. Junkrat's just tossing mines and tossing his explosives everywhere, and not a lot going on for a while, Jax. It was just building ults slowly, and that was like the whole first little bit here of Kongdu Panthera attack. Lucid did do some good work as well as the DPS on the side of Runaway to hold off for a while, but the switch of DDing onto the Pharah here works out well for them as they needed that extra little boost plus nobody to shoot him down. Going into OT, Kongdu Panthera able to capture at that A point.
Uploads. Ding is showing up as the star here. On the first point, Runaway's defense pretty solid until Ding comes out with the 3K Riptire. The number of multi-kill Riptires, Lepelos, is leading me to think it might be a little broken, but we'll see. Maybe we need to gather more data to see, if that's actual fact. But the switch to Pharah showing more of his projectile skills. And honestly, Lepelos, with the Runaway running the Junkrat Genji, and neither one of them running it, as well as we know they can, easy win for Kongdu.
I mean, easy win to get into the second phase. Actually, it was still struggling in second phase relative to most teams here, though, for Kongdu Panthera. Runaway doing pretty good work. I want to say DK, he had a fight or two that he didn't do very well here in the Tracer, and then he came back, showed up for the OT push well there to get through. But I want to just move ahead and discuss this, Jax. Cox switching from Mercy to Ana to Mercy going into the third phase defense here for Runaway, losing 50% of your Valkyrie ult. How do you feel? Do you feel that affected? I mean, I'm leading you to what I thought.
I mean,
here, but do you think it was an effect on the Runaway's defense in the third phase?
I think they didn't know what to do. I think Cox really, really wants to be a DPS player, Lepelos.
Yes.
When I look at Cox, I think of him as Nevix. Nevix, when we saw him at the Atlantic Showdown with, I don't even remember the team. I almost said Dignitas, but it wasn't Dignitas. It was Misfits, sorry. When we saw them at the Atlantic Showdown last August in the very first major LAN we had, Nevix was playing Zenyatta. After that, Nevix was playing DPS from then on out, Lepelos. Cox, we saw him try to flex to the DPS multiple times in Apex. I really think he just, I think he wants out, man. He plays, Ana got a little bit of damage increase. Zen is Zen, but I see him on Mercy Lepelos, and I'm saying to myself, ooh, that's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, people are used to seeing Mercy and thinking, Mercy one tricks and how they've, harmed rank play, but at the professional level, Lepelos, Mercy actually takes a little skill to play. Just take a look at Team South Korea, right? We had Ryu Jae-hong and Toby both trying to play Mercy. Neither one of them, I felt, did it very well, but they did it well enough to get the job done. Here, where the supporting cast isn't as strong as, the entire South Korean roster, and Runaway with Hacksaw struggling, or what I consider to be struggling, Cox and his subpar support play did them no favors.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Kongdu Panthera just cutting through here, able to clear out, capture this Junkertown third point area in order to win that map, getting them the 1-0 and the match point, taking it to Mbani next. Jax Runaway said anemic attack. Same is true here on their attack on Mbani. They go to their comfort. Let's put it that way. They go with the 2-2-2 classic dive here.
Doubles, they get 2 ticks the first push. Fantastic.
Do. I mean that's great. I mean their dive forced Kongdu Panthera off point, but the biggest issue here being they did not get a single kill. I don't even mean a kill on a res. I mean they didn't get a single kill on their initial dive here. And that's an issue.
There was some pretty fantastic, impressive ultimate charges that were built up here.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Yongjin, the defensive soldier for Kongdu Lepelos, holy crap, sub 40-second tactical visor.
Yeah, and
Even
that's
more impressive, Lepelos, was Cox being able to counter him at the exact same time with a sound barrier
please,
on Lucio Lepelos.
please
Sub 40-second sound barrier? Are you kidding me, man?
put Cox onto a DPS. That's my response to this. Like, this is showing that he's outdoing himself on support at this point, and you have underperforming DPS right now on the side. Okay,
Man.
yeah.
But here's the thing. After that, Lepelos, they had nothing.
Well, you want
There's
to
no
talk
focus
about
left, but they're running full dive, and no one's dying.
one kill Dragonblade Hacksaw Jax. I mean, this goes back to something that we're going through. And the Mercy, I want to say, is a big reason why the modern meta, big reason why Kongji Panthera are running out here. They're able to keep more people in the fight, plus the spawn advantage, relative spawn advantage.
Mercy is supposed to have been nerfed. We're supposed to be moving away from the Mercy meta to a more balanced support meta. Is Mercy still a must-have?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's the only have. If you're a really good dive team, I haven't seen the dive really dive the Mercy yet in a way, in a highly effective way. I think the top tier teams should be able to do that.
This is
These
runaway
teams are
season.
not doing that.
Runner up to in Apex Season 4, runner up to APAC. I mean, a top team in the world. You tell me they can't effectively run a dive? Dive is what they do. You said they went to their comfort.
They're looking out of practice, though. They're like, in terms of it, they're not looking tight enough. They get held here. 81.9% is all they get on the board. That means it's a relatively short time for Kongju Panthera to attack here. Jax, I know you love Korean defenses on Numbani, so I'm just going to let you take away here. What happened?
I'm not surprised at all at the 222 Torbjorn's Tracer that came out of Runaway Lepelos. I wish I was surprised. What bothers me, although I guess he's the only one who could, is Hacksaw playing Torbjorn Lepelos. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
So I have here in my notes that from Runaway's attacks, I would have liked to have seen them go with a 1-3-2. Sorry, with a with only one support. I mean, with 3 DPS, with Cox flexing to the soldier because the damage wasn't there. And here from Kongdu Panthera Lepelos, I do get a 1-3-2. I get Yongjin playing the Genji, Diding on the Pharah, Decay on the Tracer Lepelos. You talk about people being able to kill things. Runaway come out Lepelos, they kill Changsik, the Winston for Kongdu Panthera, he's dead. Koma, the Mercy, dead. When you lose your only tank and your main support in the opening moments of the fight should be won for you. How did they lose, Lepelos? The damage output from Kongdu Panthera was simply greater. They got the turret out of the way. The 3 DPS Lepelos stayed alive. Luffy, the Zenyatta, he also died. So Kongdu Panthera lost their tank, lost one healer, lost a second healer. None of their 3 supports died in that fight. They took it in one push. It's over, Lepelos.
It was definitely a disappointing.
Lepelos, how much time did the Torbjorn turret buy?
Honestly, nothing this time, Jax. It was a very, very poor Torbjorn strat this time. I also want to say,
time, Lepelos? Are you kidding me? It's always bad.
Have yet to see it really work out well. I don't like how they position themselves for it, and I also want to give credit to Kongju Panthera, though. I'm pretty sure they read this was coming. That's why they got the fair up there.
They lost their main tank and both supports in the middle of the fight.
They knew what they were going to face here, and they just knew they had to out DPS Runaway here, and they did. It's a simple thing for them to do, and that's what they did. Jax, we can either go through Group A. I said we'd go through Group A in the standings, or we can go into each of the other series and then do all the standings.
By going into Group A, Lepelos, I would say Kongdu Panthera finished top, Runaway second, LGD Gaming disappointing third, if I'm being honest with you. Ligan eSports fourth, no surprise there.
Yeah.
LGD Gaming, I will say, Lepelos, they're missing Undead. He's with the Shanghai Dragons now,
which is a pretty big loss for them. But they managed to take a map off of Runaway. I don't know. They managed to take Nepal
considering the
off
performance against Kongdu Panthera, does that matter?
I
took
mean,
a map?
It doesn't matter if you're getting relegated to the lower bracket. You might see these guys again. I don't know. Okay. Let's go ahead and move into Group B, Jack, where we have another top two.
I'm telling you right now, Lepelos, this was the middling group.
I agree. This is well. We might as well talk about standings since we did Group A. So let's do Group B standings then the game. Group B, Lao Yin B, Team CC, both of them sitting at 1 and 2. At the bottom of Lao Yin B, having the worst scoreline, number 4. Team CC sitting at 1 and 2, but only a -1 scoreline.
Can't be surprised. You
That sets
cannot be
up.
surprised by these results, level.
No, I'm not. But that sets up the 1 and 2 between X6 Gaming and 7 Gaming, a game that we both watched as well. Jack's here. Both of these two Korean teams again trying to get out of the group, and it was actually important though. Like if you look at it in terms of the setup here, it was important for both of these teams to.
I mean, it's important because the very first game of Group B on the first day was Team CC versus X6. Team CC won, Lepelos, 2-1. The reason why I call this the group of middling is, part of the reason is that result. Team CC, Lepelos, was in OPS, Overwatch Premier Series 2017. They in the most recent summer season that happened, they finished 10th out of 12 teams with a 3-8 record. Lepelos.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about let's talk about the other result here then. Team CC did beat X6 that's just I don't know how you lose, and it was bad, Jack. So you lose Junkertown 1-0, and then you lose Dorado 2-1, which probably means you got held to a 1 and they just captured out, which I'd have to go and watch the VOD for. But
for this group, I just want to give the results right quick, Lepelos. Yeah. So CC 2-1 over X6. Lao Yin B loses to 7 2-0. The very next day, 7 beats Team CC 2-1 Lepelos. X6 beats Lao Yin B 2-0. No surprise there. In the final game, we have Team CC versus LYB. LYB beats Team CC 2-1.
Yeah,
middling. This is middling play. This
is
the perfect. If you want an example of it, you point them to Group B, Nexus Cup 2017 Annual Finals. This is middling play. This is okay.
So I mean, here we are. We have a chance for Team 7 to go through undefeated, Jack. So they can hopefully not be a middling team, but they are facing former world's number 9. X6 Gaming. Junkertown, of course, the map we're starting out here on. We have X6 going on attack here. And Widowmaker, Jax, I've got to say here, it pays off for Godspeed off the start.
Lepelos, you say it pays off. I said Godspeed got his ultimate, right? 55% faster than Bazzi.
Yeah, Bazzi not doing a lot of work here on that A point. Unfortunately, they do get held up in the third phase. They had 5:30 for the third phase attack, Jacks. 28 seconds when they do capture out. Architect, I want to say, doing some work here for 7, or sorry, for X6 to help them capture it.
For 7, their tracer players. His name is really solid play for him to help buy back some time.
Yes.
Because in the final third levels, we're still seeing these Widowmakers,
which I did not like. I mean, Bazzi had like one good fight.
Widowmakers, Lepelos.
Bazzi had like one good fight on his Widowmaker, or maybe 2 good fights, but for the most part, it wasn't consistent enough to feel comfortable with, and that's particularly concerning on defense. And it's good that they managed to hold, but I think that defense largely relied on and to a lesser extent. Shubil and Tuba probably actually a little bit too. But anyways, Jax, they unfortunately allowed X6 through, had time, so they had to make the distance themselves. More Orisa, Roadhog, Junkrat, Widows coming out, Jax. This is...
I don't even care to talk about it. I mean, I literally in this saying, goddamn, this was middling and boring. That just gives you some idea of how I felt watching this series.
I do want to say here, Evo on the Diva coming through on a point attack here for 7. Did get a series of kills, allowed them to capture that A in pretty good time. Momentum again carrying 7 through that B point. Mika getting the reses there important for that. They got them later in the fight off of Mika's Valkyrie there. And then push into that with pretty good time. Probably not as fast as the way X6 did, but 7 pushing into the final phase with pretty good time. And Shubil still doing really good Roadhog work there. Puts them into a pretty good position, but somehow X6 able to find a hold with no spite, switching to Winston here finally, and just wrecking people. Godspeed coming out on the Tracer as well for this last hold. And basically from there on, X6 hold on and take the map.
From there, Lepelos, we go into map 2, Lijiang Tower. It won't be the first. Well, it might be the first time, won't be the last time for this tournament. Like I said, I am trying to keep this brief because I don't want to spend much time here.
Yeah.
On the garden phase, Lepelos 222, Farming Tracer for both. X6 capped it first and held it the entire time.
Yeah.
7, not playing well, Lepelos. Poor ultimate coordination. Evo, their main tank, far too aggro at times. He jumps in, right? He's dead before the rest of his team can even engage.
Yeah,
he jumps so far into the backline with no exit plan. I'm sitting here saying, okay, next round, slow it down, figure it out. I mean, yes, there's a sense of urgency. No, you shouldn't run around with your heads cut off, like a chicken with their heads cut off. This is just, I'm wondering, Lepelos, how 7 is vying for an upper bracket slot with the play that I'm seeing here, because it's not very good. But they go into the control center. Does 7 turn it around?
I'll put it this way: Baby Transcendence was ready, 100 after 2 fights. Bazi the Zen on the side of 7, only at 45% at that time. Jax, that goes to show you how bad this was, because there was another 100-0 here on Control Center for X6. I mentioned Runaway not looking tight on their dive. Here, 7 looking even a little worse in terms of their target focus.
This was 7's pick.
Yeah.
So you lose, you get to pick the next map. You go to something you're comfortable with, something that you feel you perform well on. Back-to-back 100 O's?
Yeah, definitely.
And this is for first and second in the group?
Definitely concerning. Unfortunately, here though, I mean, they could have walked through undefeated, but here they get dominated. Let's be honest, by X6 Gaming, and of course X6 Gaming being the team that lost to Team CC, and Team CC being the team that lost to Lalian B. So Jackson, what I'm trying to say is that Lalian B, best team of Group B, sitting at the bottom of the bracket.
I mean, Lepelos, this is just
like. I'm just kidding.
I mean, okay. To be fair, Lalian B did win Overwatch Team Story Chapter 3, Lepelos, but that is the qualifier for the Overwatch Premier Series. So they won the qualifier to the tournament that Team CC actually participated in and finished 10th in. So no surprise that those two are rather close. But I mean, we don't really have a comparison for X6, right? But X6, while not a top tier Korean team, is pretty high up there, Lepelos. This performance from them, if this is what they plan on bringing into Season 5 of OG, I almost said OG and Apex. If this is what they plan on bringing this into Season, what is it, Season 2? Wait, are we going to be Season 5
no idea.
contenders, or is it Season 2 contenders?
That's a whole nother podcast on the nomenclature of their stupid terms that they're coming up with. I have no idea.
If this is what they're bringing into the Korean scene, Lepelos, they're going to get beat.
Yeah.
Like, this is shocking. And if I'm...
Well, we'll see.
If I'm 7, an up-and-coming team, Lepelos, they got some things to figure out. I mean,
absolutely.
On Control Center, they're running a 2-2-2 Genji Tracer dive with, a Mercy, and it just doesn't work. And I'm saying, when you have the pick, like, for me, being able to pick what maps you go to, that is a pretty big thing. Like, that is you being able to pick something that you are good at. And when you perform this badly, you've got issues. But Lepelos, we'll see more of them in the upper bracket part of the finals. I can't believe I said that, because these two teams should be in the lower bracket. But from here, we go to Group C, where we get some more interesting players.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and talk about the game, then we'll get to the standings of Group C and Group D at the same time, and then talk about games in Group D after. Group C, Metathena versus Foxes. That was teams 1 and 2.
Okay.
Another 2 Korean teams. Jack's just going to say that. Let's go through the games. Junkertown.
I mean, Lepelos, wait a minute. The way you said that, are you implying that the Korean scene is better than Chinese scene?
I'm saying empirically right now we're into the third group of teams 1 and 2.
I forget, Lepelos has a PhD. He has to think empirically. Okay. Lepelos.
I mean, this is how it's playing out. It's factually what has happened yet. I mean,
Lepelos,
the tournament's not done, Jax.
We're looking at the first and second teams. They're all Korean.
Yeah, they're so far all Korean that we've presented. I'll give you a hint. Group D also all Korean, so it's all Korean upper bracket. But
spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. I'm sorry, guys, you have to wait. But let's go through Group C. Metathena versus Foxes really quickly here, and I mean quickly, because Junkertown, Metathena here, They did well. I'll put it that way.
Lepelos, how do you lead with that? How do you lead Meta Athena, Lepelos? The first line I have for this, the return of Arhan.
The return of Arhan.
You have to lead with the main story,
Is
Lepelos.
it the return of Arhan? Because I thought it was. Yeah. No, I mean
I'm just saying.
I thought it was Saya player doing well personally. If I had to say anything, a Saya player on the McCree on their attack, which this part doesn't matter as I'll get to shortly. He did very well on the McCree to set up for their distance that they made. They didn't get all the way. Did I get this right?
Now, did he start on the McCree or did he
No,
start
he
on
did
the
not.
Widowmaker, Lepelos?
He started out on the Widowmaker, but we also
And
had the
Bastion
Bastion
was
coming
being
out for
played by
Arhan.
Arhan, is this
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, and then we had the Arhan switch to Pharah when the Bastion strategy didn't work.
Okay.
But basically it was still a fairly quick A take and momentum into the third point. But Jax, let's cut through all that because it's the Fox attack that is
Yes.
the issue here. And it was Meta Athena with Orisa, Roadhog, Widowmaker, Junkrat, and Jax. We're seeing something different on the side of Fox. They're like, you know what? We're gonna bring out something entirely different. We're gonna bring out a Genji and a Hanzo together.
Oh boy.
My notes here are very short. Basically, Meta Athena wrecking Fox through and through,
I have
holding
here
at the
in
final
my-
houses of that Junkertown first push in order to take the easy win. That's it.
Arhan has found his calling. It is not Genji. It is in fact Junkrat. Saya player maybe can't run Widowmaker on the attack, but he sure as hell can run it on the defense, especially when no one can get to him in the back line, Lepelos. Both of these two DPS players were free casting the entire time. NC Foxes, there's no longer NC or RX, it's just Foxes. Their attack, Lepelos, leaves a lot to be desired. Hopefully, going into the next map of Lijiang Tower, which is all about attack, will be slightly different.
I mean, you say that, but the Lijiang Towers, unfortunately, not going the side of Fox. Let's just go through this one really quickly because, again, not a very close
Point out
matchup
my
here.
boy Recry Lepelos in for Arhan. Arhan put on the bench. Recry comes in playing the Pharah.
Yeah,
Which is odd. Normally he plays hit scan, but yeah, that's fine.
I mean, Fox do get some percentage on the first point in Jax. They could have had more. I'll put it this way: on Night Market here, they took the first fight, which went pretty decently for them. They took the ground war really quickly. That Pharah not doing anything in that first fight, but Jax, when you give up the point in the middle of a fight, and you lose that point 30% later, that's a net of 60% you lost, right?
I know.
Like
We've
you could have
covered
had
this
that
many times,
30%
Lepelos.
on your side, or sorry, it would have been 30% on your side, right? So you would have had up to probably 60% right there, right? Here they give a free 30% to Meta Athena essentially, and from there, Adora just doing the best he can for NC Fox's Jax. He gives opportunity, but they didn't capitalize. And what I mean is they were too slow to realize that they had an advantage. Meta Athena regroup, hold on. 131 here for Meta Athena. Disappointing play out of Foxes on Night Market Garden. Worst story for them there.
So we're seeing mirror comps 222. Well, not mirror. I almost said mirror comps, but we're seeing a 222 pharmacy tracer out of Fox's Lepelos, and then I look at Meta Athena. First thing that comes out of my mouth is throw, because we've got a pharmacy, which is fine. That's what they ran previously, but we've got Saya player back on the Widow. I'm not a huge fan of Saya player's Widow. I know somebody will tweet at me saying Jack Saya player is one of the best Widow makers in Korea. That's fine. I have not been impressed by his play in this Chinese tournament. That being said, Lepelos, I have here in my notes 2 easy GMA. Recryer won the fair battle, but neither one of them was actually impressive. And to once again ask Lepelos about middling Korean play. Because here's the deal, Lepelos. Korea no longer has Lunatic High. Well, they do, but it's a different one. They no longer have Kangdu Pantera. Oh, wait, they do, but it's a different one. They don't have GC Busan, Lepelos. Runaway we saw earlier in this tournament. They didn't really impress you. They didn't impress me, okay? I'm looking at X6 Gaming, always around in Apex, Lepelos. Well, it's not Apex anymore. They're not impressing me. Seven is supposed to be an up-and-coming team. Did they impress you? Probably not, if I'm being honest. So now we've got Meta Athena, a new rebuilt Meta Athena Lepelos,
Yep.
bringing in Arhan, bringing in Recry, some old veterans to the game and the Korean scene, and mixing it with what Meta Athena already had. By the way, where's Hoon? I don't know. And Foxes, another, not really new because they were there in the previous season, but this is 6 teams, Lepelos, 6 teams that are going to be in the contender season. Do you think this will be entertaining? Like, is this the level of Korean play? I mean, I should say, is this? But can you imagine that this is being the level of Korean play compared to what we're used to seeing?
Out of OGN? Yeah, it's definitely not the same level of the top teams of OGN. But Jax, I want to remind you, some of those games, even at the OGN levels, weren't exactly the highest level either. Previously, right? Like, you just have to go watch Rocks Orcras play.
Oof.
I'm sorry.
Lepelos throwing shade on Rocks like that. Okay.
I'm sorry. Like, their games were interesting, but I'm not going to say like they were at the level of watching the grand finals when Lunatic High and Runaway back in season 3. You know what I mean? Or whenever it was when they played those two seasons. But it's just a fact that you remove the cream of the crop, Jax. Of course, everything that's remaining is not going to be as good.
Lepelos, they lost the 4 best teams in the country to the Overwatch League.
And the sad truth is, the contenders that will be still playing in Korea could probably beat some of the teams that are in Overwatch League. I'm just going to say that too.
Lepelos, is this a preview of our preseason preview that I just heard?
I think it's suffice to say some teams aren't even playing in the preseason. So.
Well, let's talk about who the teams that are playing, because we still have Group D left in the Nexus Cup 2017 Annual Finals, and this group, I thought Group C, might be interesting. It was a chance because I was interested in seeing my boy Arhan come back and see what he has. He's a Junkrat
Group C
now.
Though, Jax, we gotta talk about the other teams in Group C.
Do we have to?
Because we had hopes that something might happen.
This team at the bottom here really gets on my nerve. But go ahead.
Always disappointing, Jax. They only play for playoffs, I think. Their regular group stage play seems to be poor, so maybe we'll see more of them in the playoffs, although I sort of doubt it. We're talking, of course, about Vici Gaming. You guys have heard us talk about this Chinese team a few times. A team that can, at times, beat the best teams out of China.
I should say Vici Gaming, I forget who it was, Lepelos, I'm sorry to say. They lost one of their best players to the Shanghai Dragons.
I'm not surprised. That's probably why they would be
It was
able
their
to
flex.
do that.
Daya, the flex player.
Oh, yeah.
He, big part of their team, gone, cannibalized by Shanghai. Okay, Lepelos, let me ask you this. Is this the future then? Will these Overwatch League teams just keep taking the cream of the crop from the? How do they get better then?
You don't. You hope you have someone new that can come in, but not too great. I mean, your attitude has to change as a team when you know you're not going to be an Overwatch League team, right? Your attitude is. Like, if you want to sustain a team, okay, we're getting aside here, Jax.
Because I was just about to go even further aside, but
we can go far aside. Let's stick on track though, because we got to talk about Lucky Future here in 3rd place.
Do we have to? Okay.
They were close. I mean, they won over Meta Athena, Jax, and they had a 2-1 versus NC Foxes, and they also had the first map off of NC Foxes. So. Or sorry, just Foxes, not NC.
So Lepelos, here's the deal. You mean to tell me Lucky Future can beat Meta Athena in the first day, but in the last day, when they could actually do something and finish top of,
worse than that. They lost to NC Foxes, Jax.
I mean, but that leaves them at 1-1 with the tiebreaker advantage over Meta Athena. So then you come down here, Lepelos, to their last game against Vici Gaming, who previously lost to Foxes 2-0. Who then lost to Meta Athena 2-0, Lepelos. And now you mean to tell me Lucky Future can't beat Vici Gaming? It's middling play.
Middling play, groups B and C. I suppose it's appropriate that those are both the middling groups. Which sets us up for Group D, Jax. Sitting at the bottom, we have a team that's 0-3. Okay, there's some non-middling play right there. That's Miracle Team 1 going out badly. So... can't call you middling if you lose every single matchup. They only got one map, Jax. That one map, I want to point out, coming off of Lunatic High.
I mean,
So
Miracle Team won Lepelos. If I'm taking a look at it, Overwatch Premier Series 2017 summer, they finished third. They didn't do too good in what was it? Did they go to APAC? Yes, they went to APAC and they finished third behind Africa Freaks and Blank Esports for the grand finals of OPS Lepelos. Again, they finished third. They finished fourth where they lost to VG Gaming. So, I mean, basically, Miracle Team 1 finished where everybody expected them to. They're a high-level Chinese team, but as the results from this tournament are showing us, high-level Chinese is below high-level Korean level. So them being bottom of this group is no surprise.
speaking of that, Jax, let's talk about third place team Miraculous Youngster. Third place
What
team.
happened here?
Unfortunately, only able to take one win off of Miracle Team 1. That's the only win they got. I watched.
Lepelos.
I did
Unlike
watch
these other teams, LGD and oh my god, we just talked about them. VG Gaming. No one from Miraculous Youngsters got picked up. This is Miraculous What?
very concerning stuff in the Chinese scene, Jax, because I thought they were pretty good. Although, from my understanding, I think they had a number of players, and maybe it's their best players are underage for Overwatch League, Jax.
Lepelos. This was the
not
team
entirely
who
sure.
everybody was saying before we knew about some of the age issues that they had. Were the Shanghai Dragons? I think I actually said just sign Miraculous Youngsters and be done with it.
Yeah, I would agree
This
with
is
you.
not the performance that you want out of a team for Overwatch League, Lepelos.
No, they're looking like a contenders team, Jax. That's for sure. I can
Lepelos,
tell you.
do you not remember the game we saw about 2 months ago between Miraculous Youngsters and the original Lunatic High in that show match? It was one of the best Overwatch matches of the year.
Yeah, I definitely loved it. I don't know what's happened here. I can tell you the following, though. Junkertown Jax against
No.
Elemental Mystic. They got held to 44 meters, which was particularly bad, allowing Element Mystic 324 to capture out. They tried to make a go of it on Nepal, but they lost 140 on Village and then 199 on Sanctum there.
I think I know what part of the problem is, Lepelos. Come to find out, it has been reported Miraculous Youngsters as an organization is pulling out of Overwatch.
I'm not surprised.
These players are transitioning to PUBG.
There's been money concerns coming out from that organization, which, when you look at, again, the controlling nature of Blizzard and the lack of growing grassroots and events that offer prize pools to help pay the top
Lepelos,
players.
you're literally losing
performing.
the best team in your country.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Well, Jax, don't worry. We're gonna be showing who's remaining on MLG. So
Lepelos,
it's true. Okay, Jack. So let's go before we go on another rant. Let's go talk about Lunatic High versus Element Mystic. Sorry, am I getting this right? Element Mystic. Sorry, I said
Element Mystic,
my
the
bad.
up and coming team, Lepelos from Apex. I said Apex Challengers. I mean, at the time it was Apex Challengers. Now it's I don't even know what.
We don't know what it's going to be. They were in Challengers. They got out of Challengers before whatever is happening. Let's put it that way. So it's an interesting up-and-comer versus established but seeing a revamped team with most of their members going to Seoul Dynasty, of course. Lunatic High now being... Who's on their current team? It looks like there's not too many familiar faces. I'll put it that way.
I mean, level. Wait, there may not. Oh, wait, we have Who Are You? We have Do Young, Guardian. We have Alarm, Nene, Yarg, So What, and IDK. Some of them we don't know. Some of them we do. Like Who Are You? Do Young, Alarm, IDK. We know them. From other. Apex. Well, Who Are You's always been on Lunatic High, but
Who Are You's like is he now the veteran of Lunatic High? But Alarm IDK.
He's only here because he's not old enough to play for Team Seoul.
You know he's going to be gone probably next year if he keeps his performance up. But Jax, they're not playing him here. They're not playing him on this Lunatic High. I guess they're keeping him in reserve.
I mean, Levelos, perhaps they're using this as an opportunity to vet the players that they've picked up, see how they work at a somewhat high level. Element Mystic, I think, probably one of their biggest competitors. From what I heard, there was a show match between Element Mystic and Team South Korea, and Element Mystic won handily, Levelos. But that was back in the old Mercy meta. Right now we're supposed to be transitioning out of the Mercy meta. Sadly, we're not transitioning out of Junkertown, Levelos. We're going back to Junkertown yet again. But for the first time, there is no damn Widowmaker on either side, Levelos. Is this a sign of high level play now.
I listen. I do think it's a sign of more coaching and of stronger thought about what your analysis would be. I will always say the Widowmaker is a very inconsistent hero to have out and requires a lot of trust for someone to make that consistency. I'll
Doubles.
put
I
it,
mean,
I'll put it to you this way though, Jax. We did get to see some Widowmaker come out at some point here.
but okay.
Let's go ahead
Before
and
we get into
talk
that
about
play,
it though,
though,
like
we're
off the
not
start here.
seeing. You talk about trust, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is Roadhog is another one of those iffy picks right now, Lepos. But we're seeing plenty of Roadhog, especially in this series. And Junkertown first point, there are a lot of corners for him to camp, Lepos. A lot of stairs and buildings for him to hide in. So, is this why we're seeing the Roadhog resurgence more on this map than others?
Yeah, definitely the areas that you can escape to as Roadhog, having more angles that you can approach out of, like pieces of cover, help Roadhog probably more so than other tanks, for sure
Okay.
too. And also because the defenses are usually going to hold up pretty short here on the
Okay.
first point of that A point. But as you go throughout Junkertown, there's actually a number of places where you can do that, and that allows you certain advantages on Roadhog, whereas some other tanks don't get that same level of advantage, or it's actually a vulnerability. Say like Reinhardt, where there's multiple angles to cover.
Very true.
You can get flanked very easily. Anyways, Jax, Roadhog here, you bring it up. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Roadhog on the side of Lunatic High. So what?
Lepos, this
Really good play out of him.
3-1-2.
He is bringing out the Lite Jeune. Jax, no.
Lepos 3-1-2 Tracer
Yeah.
from Lunatic High. I mean, like, we were theorizing that with Mora, we'd be seeing a lot more 3-1-2.
We don't not seen Mora though. We've seen Anna Mercy come out, Jax.
That's a lot of healing output then.
And interestingly, you say 3-1-2 Diva Roadhog Zarya, no main shield in that. I would say combo,
Okay.
but all can do good damage, particularly with the changes to Diva. So a very interesting combination on the side of Element Mystic. I mean, another Roadhog Diva combo, also bringing up McCree Tracer. Lunatic High, though, the tank's just too good here. Even when Sparkle comes on the Pharah switch for the side of Element Mystic, they're holding on here. And Yarg doing the counter switch to Widow to deal with Guard's Widow.
He dropped from Zarya to Widowmaker.
It doesn't really matter. Let's put it that way. They hold. Lunatic High holding at 70,
it
70
doesn't matter, but
essentially.
so what? And his Roadhog kind of matters.
Well, he
They
does.
couldn't deal with it. This was like Harblu camping Cloud9 on Watchpoint in that one game where he just shut them down, push after push. So what? At one point he was getting multiple kills. Like, I'm thinking, how does a Roadhog kill a Tracer and then a Mercy within seconds?
Yeah, he got that right click distance down, Jax. That's my feeling. But I didn't see exactly because of the screen. But anyways, he was doing really good work here. Lunatic High easily make that distance here. I want to say though,
76.74 meters from what is supposed to be the next GC Busan. GC Busan Leplos did well in challengers, come into Apex, dominate Apex, win APAC. This Element Mystic team is supposed to be the next coming of GC Busan. They can't even capture first point.
So I'd want to make two things about the GC Busan. JC Busan had between challenger and when they actually had to face difficult teams, many months of OGN between, right? Like, you didn't go from 0 to hero in GC Busan, let's be honest. They had all of those group stages games.
I think they lost a couple games, though.
They did, and we're talking in their group was not the strong group, right? Like, if you told me they're the fourth team instead of Meta Athena in Group A, Jax, GC Busan, I do not think would have made it out of groups if they hopped into that level of play. Here, I feel the same is probably true of Element Mystic. They looked out of their element here. Jax, 306 when Lunatic High make it through. Nene so good though on the Tracer. I think he got something like 4 kills, something like that. Li Jiang Tower though, chance for Element Mystic here to try and take it back. I said it before. More Li Jiang Tower, Jax. Okay, Night Market. Nene again doing work. To start it off, he's still on fire here, Jax. Do we have a sign of another great Tracer player in NA.
I mean, it seems Korea seems to be filled with great Tracer players, Leplos. I'm keeping my eye out, though, from Element Mystic, the player named Repel, bring out the Moira here. To me, seemed to be, I like to use the word catalyst. Seemed to be the catalyst here that got them going in this round. The hybrid nature of more of the damage and the heals that were coming out seemed to give them the little extra boost that they needed at times because
Yep.
on Junkertown the DPS is just bad. Like they weren't they got ran over. They could not even deal with a Roadhog. Where here, this is what I was expecting more from Element Mystic Leplos. And what happened?
Yeah, it
Element
pays
Mystic took
off
the
here.
round.
Despite like some close fights, even at the end, it's a 190. Was it 198 or a full
I would say it was
199?
98. I think it
Yeah,
was 98.
I think it was
Um,
98 here as Element Mystic take the first map. So
Very
Jackson,
even play here. Very, this is
very
this
close.
is this is what I wanted from this series. I wanted to see, I wanted a close series between two high-level teams. I think Element Mystic is starting to wake up.
Yeah, you say that though. Let's talk control center here. Really short notes to give you on this one, Jax. Let me get through it. Nene, both supports first fight, and Diva. Out Lunatic High take first fight. Second fight, Guardian on his Diva gets both supports again for Lunatic High.
Oh man.
2 fights down. I mean, already in a bad spot at this point. Basically, so what in a later fight, getting the initial kill on JC and then the 76, and then later on Fearless and Repel as well. Lunatic Kai taking point later on there. Oh, sorry, no, that was I jumped
100
ahead.
level.
No, no,
Let's
no.
just-
I
let's just
I,
move
I skipped my notes here. Let me say the one other note I wanted to mention here on Control Center. Yarg, 3-kill Dragonblade for another hold. Guardian 2-kill self-destruct to set up final hold.
The
100
DPS for
Lunatic
Element
High.
Mystic Lepelos, I thought they were waking up on the night market. They went back to sleep here. Sparkle is getting completely outplayed by Yarg on the Genji. Around 75%, I think he drops Genji for Soldier. What's he going to do? There's literally one fight in
Well,
between. He loses the fight. It's over. Like, okay, you switch to Soldier.
Jax,
You did even worse.
your supports are dead the whole time. They're on that
They
respawn button.
can't.
You need
Level,
a self
when you
heal.
can't even initiate without losing someone.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good flanking on the side of Lunatic High. It looked. If I had to say anything, they probably had a good read of Element Mystic here, and that's probably what happened. And Element Mystic paid dearly for it. The Garden, though, Jack's a bit of another close round here. At least, I don't know how close I want to say it was. Map score ends up being close, but let's go ahead and talk about it a little bit. Pharmacy coming out both sides. Dive tanks both sides as well, I think.
Yeah.
And we have that Moira still out, Jax, for Repel on the side of
Or
Element Mystic.
unable to be the difference maker here, Lepos. You want to talk about difference makers? I'm looking at Alarm on the Lucio with the boosted, with the the little right click boop, Lepos getting 2 kills. Right over the side you go, thank you. Gives him enough to build. And the English casters we were listening to, they're like, wow, he got his ultimate up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
They didn't see the boop, Lepolos. One of those boops was a diva. Fed him all that nice, juicy ultimate charge for the sound barrier. This was, for me, this was the Yarg show, Lepolos. Starting with that fantastic opening from him on Farah.
Yeah.
And, this is actually what I want to talk to you about more than anything else. But I guess we have to go through this round. Solid DPS from Yard. So what, Lepolos? This guy impressed me on the Roadhog. He's impressing me now on the Winston. Fantastic zoning ultimates by him. The Primal Rage onto the enemy soldier who had tactical visor. Guard got nothing from it, Lepolos. Later on, Repel playing the Moira with the Coalescence, Lepolos tries to use it. Again, Primal Rage into a corner can make nothing of it because of this Winston play out of him. And when you've got a solid tank controlling the area like that, right? It frees up your damage to do so much. And who won the round, Lepolos?
Yeah, it was Lunatic High taking it, and of course it was for me in that final fight though. It was Yarg again. You mentioned him at the start. 3 kills mid fight here to really turn it around for Lunatic High. It could have gone either way. Jax, I want to give a quick notice to Fearless and Dako. Both of them, I think, getting 2 kills early into the last fight. Or
was it enough, Lepolos?
It wasn't enough though because it was an extended fight. and that 3 kills by Yarg partway through that fight really turned things around there for Lunatic
Nicholas, let
High.
me ask you something. Yarg, another one of these flex players who we've seen him play hit scan in this series, right? We've seen him play Genji, we've seen him play Pharah, all to, as of right now, we could say a high level because this is the level of competition that they're at and they're winning. I'm looking at Yarg here. I'm looking at Nene on the Tracer, Lepelos. Where does Who Are You come in? What does he do?
Moral support from the sideline until Genji gets buffed, I
Lepelos, he's
guess.
supposed to be the star DPS left behind. He's supposed to be Flower. He's too young to play in Overwatch League, so he has to play for the contenders team.
Maybe he needs to start practicing things other than Genji and getting himself benched for personal reasons.
I mean,
But,
we saw him play a serviceable, a pretty good Tracer in that show match against, I forget who. It was either Miraculous Youngsters or it was C9 Kongdu at the time. But I'm looking at this Yar guy, Lepelos, and we're talking about players who are going to get poached. If he takes this level of play into contenders, he'll get Lepelos. He's gone. He's gone.
yeah, no, I mean, I definitely could see a place for him if he keeps on playing that well. But you never know. This is one best of 3 series that we watched closely, so we'll keep our eye out, see if that happens indeed in contenders. Jack, that rounds out Group D.
You want to take a look at the playoffs, or you want to wait for the coming next part?
Well, we can talk about the playoffs here. Just Group B, that finishes Lunatic High 3-0 at the top there for that one. So, yeah, why don't we go ahead and talk about the playoffs here, because down in the lower bracket, Jacks, we mentioned this, all Chinese teams, and upper bracket, all Korean teams.
Who made... The reason why I'm upset, Lepos, you'll see the second... We'll start in the upper bracket, right?
Yeah.
Or do you want to start in the lower bracket?
I
don't care about the lower bracket.
We're not going to talk about the lower bracket, Jacks.
Okay.
You know what? There's nothing really to mention other than all these teams need to make it so far to make it anywhere important.
Looking at this, I'm looking at a final, which I do want to see. Miraculous Youngsters versus LGD Gaming in the lower bracket final. That being said, Miracle Team 1 could upset LGD. Laoyan B could wake up Lepelos. Up and coming team in China. Maybe they'll show us something. But
I mean, we'll see if any
MY versus LGD.
Well, I mean, if you mention the lower bracket, Jax, they all got to the lower bracket by losing to Korean teams. Jax, it's hard to imagine they'll get out of losers round 2, where they face all Korean teams again. So, if you want to talk about the lower bracket,
I was trying to give the Chinese a little something to pull for, man.
I'm sorry.
Lepelos comes and dashes it away. But since you've already done that, Lepelos, let's look at this upper bracket.
Yeah.
What a game! What a game! Lepelos, storied rivalry here.
Right at number 1.
Lunatic High versus Runaway.
Right off the start. I mean, definitely storied game, but Jax, you got to give it to Lunatic High here. Like, do you see Runaway really competing with them at this point?
I can only hope Runaway has some kind of magic to pull Lepelos. I mean, sad. I shouldn't say sad thing, but was reported by Kaiser on Twitter that Runner is going into the Korean Army. So soon he'll be gone for 2 years. Lepelos doing Army life things because they have to serve over there.
Conscription is a bit of a pain.
Jax, that's a blow to. I mean, Lepelos. We've already lost the 4 biggest teams in Korea. Now we're losing the heart of Runaway now? How big a part has Runner played in Korean Overwatch, man?
I mean, Jax, you keep on thinking that Overwatch League isn't gonna be one in everything to us at all times. But no, and all jokes aside, yeah, it's definitely disappointing, obviously, to see people go, not the first esport to be hit by the conscription issue over in Korea. So hopefully
it's 2017 and we still need that. But we're not going to get into politics, Lepelos. No. We're both taking Lunatic High here. And the second game, we just saw this.
Yeah, I was going to say more middling team play, Jax.
I don't care.
I still feel like this can go either way, though, to be honest. We're talking about X6 versus 7 Gaming. How are they playing each other? Like, was this like random draw?
This is terrible, but Lepelos, we're gonna go to the next series here. Foxes versus Element Mystic.
Okay, Element Mystic is going to take that one easily, Jax.
Yeah.
Which puts us into the final one: Kongdu Panthera versus Meta Athena.
Oh boy.
I think Kongdu Panthers
I'm
is
taking
gonna
Kongdu,
gonna
but
sweep.
if my boy Arhan gets woke, they could do it.
Yeah.
Okay, all seriousness, Meta Athena now has levels. If the coaching staff can figure out how to make these DPS combos work, Meta Athena can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
Saya player, Recry, Arhan, they. I think they're still trying to figure out what to do with Recry. I'm not the biggest fan of his fair. I like to see him working on it, flexing into it. But I think they're having trouble. Like, his hero pool blends in with side players a little too much. But if the coaches can make it work, Leplos,
Yeah.
it,
I mean,
it has
we'll
a
see.
chance.
We'll see if the case. Anyways, Jax, we're
But
gonna
for now,
leave.
taking Kongdu. Yeah,
Yeah, you're still taking Kongdu Panthera.
yeah.
Yeah, so am I. I think, Jax, though, we're going to leave the rest of the playoffs to see what happens over the
Okay.
next week. Playoffs will finish by the end of the week.
Quick
So
tournament, Leplos. I like this.
yeah, we'll know what's going on by.
Oh, actually, the finals, Leplos. The finals are 1 week, 4 days away.
Yeah.
So we won't even be in the finals before our next podcast.
Okay, so we won't be in the finals. We won't even be in the losers finals by that
No, we
point.
won't even be there. What? Something to look forward to, Lepelos.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll be talking about where people sit after next week. I don't know how far in the series we'll be, but we'll have a number of round of playoffs to talk about by that point. Jax, that's it for our full coverage this week, but we do have some more things to discuss.
Okay.
There was, in North America, of course, going on, Tespa Collegiate Series.
Okay, I like that. The
2017
college games levels, giving some scholarship money.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I think you watched some. I watched a little bit in the background as well. I know I had
watched a bunch of it. I was looking up. I was looking for something to watch.
Yeah. Thankfully
on Twitch, by the way. But
pretty good coverage going on, obviously, for it. They had what they are calling the Tower of Doom, which was an interesting way. Basically, it was like bracket style, but you get seeded based on your group level play in the
Tower. Tower of Doom, though, Lepelos, they went into the national finals, which I was odd. It was like one day I'm doing Tower of Doom, next day I'm doing quarterfinals for the national finals. How's it a national finals, Lepelos, where you have Canadian teams and American teams? What nationality or what nation are we dealing with here?
Jax, you go and tell me what the NHL or the NBA has.
I mean, but they don't call it national, though, do they?
I mean, National Hockey League, like National Basketball Association.
Is it Lepelos? I have concerns about these titles here, but
Jax, I'll just put this under the Americanization of eSports. That's going on. That's just the nature of you guys being the big fish here in North America. But unfortunately, that didn't get you all of your guys through. I mean, we did have a Canadian here in the quarterfinals, so that made it through.
Let's see. In the quarterfinals, though, we had UCI coming in here versus what school is High Noon Landers, and then I have to take a look at this. The New Jersey Institute of Technology Lepelos are the High Noon Landers. They faced the University of California at Irvine. UCI took that one 3-1. From there we had Lepelos. Who came up with these names?
I mean, they get to come up with them themselves. They're kids.
What is it?
Come
Defenders of what?
Defenders of Giesel, I guess.
Giesel? Okay, that is the University of California, San Diego Lepelos versus the University of Utah. That was a 3-0 for the boys from the team from San Diego. We had Cal eSports, University of California, Berkeley versus VGTC Dad Bods. I don't even know Lepelos, but that is the University of Delaware. That is the University of Delaware.
Right.
That was a 3-1 for Cal Lepelos. And coming in the final quarterfinal, we had the Low Lives, the University of Toronto versus Aggie Gaming. Lepelos, what was your alma mater?
They ended up winning 3-1 over Aggie Gaming there.
Oh, Lepelos claiming University of Toronto. There you go, people.
That was my undergrad alma mater. My graduate school alma mater got kicked out in the Tower of Doom, I believe.
Oh, both of them were in. Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that puts semifinals, which have not happened yet. We don't know when the semifinals happen, but we have UCI Esports versus Defenders of Giesel and Cal Esports versus Low Life. So
Is
I,
Cal Esports versus Olives, is that a rematch of last year's final?
I want to say it. Why does this
I
link
know
not
that I
work?
know U of T was in the final, I believe, last year versus
Yeah,
California
you
team.
keep talking while I look something up, Leplos.
It looks like
Why?
round 6 here is actually going to be on Wednesday, if this is right, midday Wednesday PST. So
Wait,
this is actually
tomorrow?
coming up. Yeah, tomorrow.
So we're gonna have Tespa going into Overwatch League preseason?
That might look like what's happening here if the timing schedule is right. It says 128 PST, Jax. That's rather specific. So I'm a little
I
concerned
mean,
that it's not
let me
listed
see.
right here,
Well,
and it's the
that
same time for
that
both
that
games.
would be 2.5 hours because Overwatch League is supposed to start at 4 Pacific. So that would, I mean, that's enough time to get through 2 games, right, for the semifinals, you think?
It really depends on. I mean, the is it live though? Because it's supposed to be live. It seems like a weird day to host live finals.
I'm trying to go to the website right now.
I'm,
Oh, round 3. Yeah, it says Wednesday. No, sorry, that's the wrong. I don't I don't know. I don't know. Their website does not say Leplos. We will follow it. We'll give them some kind of coverage. Because got to support the up and coming turn. This is part of the grassroots initiative here,
yeah,
Leplos.
before they completely do away with that, we've got to enjoy it while we can get
All
it,
right.
guys. But yeah, that's the Tesla stuff. If you guys are following your college teams, make sure you check that one out.
Interesting play. No, seriously. I
Pretty good
watched a
stuff.
number of games over the weekend. Very interesting. Not at the same level, quote unquote, as the pros, but they're getting there. And
Who's
it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean
So
they have Jamerson casting on there a little
yeah,
bit over
they
in the
had
MLS.
Dogman, former pro. I
Yeah,
guess should say former, but he's looking for work.
yeah.
So Dogman was casting.
Looking for LFW, which is funny. But I think they formerly even had Storm, and I just wanted to bring that up because again, he's on regular. If you're ever wondering about like who's really grassroots in terms of the pro scene in
Yeah.
North America, it is Game with Storm,
Yep.
if I'm correct there.
Yep.
Who
Game
does a
with you can
monthly
find him
or
on
sorry
Twitch
weekly?
at twitch.tv/Game with Storm. He does the Academy Gaming Weekly, which is honestly, as Lepo said, grassroots as to come. One of the comments that was directed at Nate Nanzer, a guy was talking about, the path to pro, and he brought up Academy Gaming, and Nate Nanzer kind of glossed over that because, well, it's not a Blizzard run thing, so of course he doesn't care.
Yeah,
But the guy, like, if you want to watch teams, a number of the teams that we like, take LG Evil, right? I followed them coming up from Academy Gaming. But Lepelos, let's talk about grassroots in another country.
yep.
We did Tespa. Let's go over to Spain, where we have the SnasCUP Grand Finals.
Yeah, I mean, a week ago you have here another cup that we discussed, I believe, last week,
Yep, the
right? So
Galicia Cup.
the Galicia Cup, where we had Old Wolves winning 3-1 over Samir Gaming,
Okay.
3-1 there
And
in
in
the
the third
finals.
place match, we had Cloud Gaming taking it 2-0 over Efficiency Team.
Yeah, so in some surprises here, then Jax. Now, because I haven't seen this until just right now, semifinals here: Cloud Gaming
Yeah.
3 over Samir Gaming to get into the finals. On the other
Okay.
side of the bracket, we had Efficiency Team 3-1 over Old Wolves to get to the finals here. So a lot changes within a week, Jax. What doesn't change here is that big old 0 I'm seeing on the side of Cloud Gaming because Efficiency Team taking this very well with a 4-0 victory in the grand finals here
I mean,
to
Limbo,
win
this
this
is
one.
just so odd where you had Old Wolves and Samir going for 1-2 last week. You had Cloud Gaming beating Efficiency Team 2-0. And now, the next week, you've got Efficiency Team beating Cloud Gaming 4-0. So
Yeah.
this I like to see. Now you go, Jack, how is this not middling? It's not because these are the same. Here's the deal. These are the best teams in Spain currently, right?
They
In
might be the
between the
only
four of them, they're
teams,
going
Jax.
back and forth. This I like. This is competition here
Yeah.
at the top of the ladder. And sooner or later, someone's gonna rise up levels one way or another. Someone's gonna start climbing and become better and better and better. And then we'll see. Maybe it'll be Sumir Gaming, right? It'll be Contender Season, whatever for Europe, right? we'll see Sumir Gaming, and they're like, oh, we know them. How do we know them? We followed them as they rose up through the ranks. This is what I like.
It's actually
Grassroots Lepelos. This is what this is.
I'm going back through some of the other monthlies that they've had here for SnasCUP, and it's very
Okay.
interesting. You see the same names for the most part up there.
All right.
And the Cloud Gaming Efficiency Team rivalry is actually quite heated, it looks like, here in the history. But okay, enough of that in Spain. But we're
Just
still
keep an eye out for it,
yeah,
Lepelos.
definitely some interesting stuff over there. If you guys know what's going on there and want to talk about it with us more, always mention this on Twitter. Anyways, we got another European one to talk about before we do close out here. We're talking about Germany, where we had University eSports over there, so comparable to the Collegiate.
Tespa?
Is this the one where we had a lot of people pull out? No, this is
No, that was
is
the one
different.
that I drew a line through because it says ignore weird results. I have to do some investigating
Yeah.
there. Some of the numbers
which
were
is troubling when you
Yeah.
have to do that, right? It's troubling. This is the one where Isuka Kit SC is sitting at the top with a perfect score line. Next closest 5-1-1, where it's mein persönlicher Favorit. I don't know. And Ryan, our campus esports, both
We
sitting
got to
at
talk about
5-1.
that German accent, man.
I don't have a German accent, guys. I have a Canadian accent. I know you guys were probably convinced there otherwise, but Thick Elks UBT convincing us with their 4th place right now in 4-1-2. Jack, we're actually week 4 has been completed. We have 2 more weeks before we can call the group stage done here in the regular season. So other than Isuka Kit SC sitting at the top and way down at the bottom where we have Heroes Never Die, Unicorns, and Uni Bond all sitting at 1-1 and 5, 1-0 and 7, 0-0 and 6 respectively. There's actually some competition here, so we'll keep our eye with what's happening with that one.
All right.
And how that one closes out in the next couple of weeks. Jax, we've mentioned this. We've been dancing around it. Overwatch League preseason is going on. We mentioned we'd have a preview. First thing to talk about in our preview, Jax, Team Fusion. Philadelphia Fusion not participating. It's unclear. I'm not clear about why they're not participating.
Lepelos. Worst kept secret, man. Visa. They have visa problems.
How do you have visa problems? I thought that's why you have money for it, right? Like
Lepelos. I mean, while it's not the entire team, I'm looking at Mindo Kusai of the Houston Outlaws, who apparently has his visa paperwork all in order, but he needs to, check in and out of the country to activate it. I don't know. If you're a visa attorney, get in touch with us. Explain this as to why he would have to leave the country and then come back. But they're afraid to just drive him down to Mexico and back because he's had border issues before, and they don't want him stranded in Mexico.
then go up to Canada. Jeez, come on. Better border to go to. Don't go to you go to Mexico if you're escaping. You go to Canada if you want.
I mean, to be fair, when
healthcare.
when Rogue was unable to get back into the country after they went to China. Wait, did Rogue go to China? Yeah. After Rogue went to China for the Overwatch World Cup levels, they stayed in Canada for about 2 months.
Yeah, where they
waiting
blamed the
to get
internet for their
paperwork sorted
issues,
out,
Jax.
playing out of some gaming cafe.
Yeah, whatever.
Which is part of the reason why
Bad
their
excuse.
performances weren't. Blows. They couldn't get home.
I mean, whatever. Jax, speaking of whatever, let's go ahead and talk about some of the early matches we have listed here for the first 2 days. Or how do you want to do this? Do you want to do it per team?
I mean, we can not team. See, so I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, and it's just there's no way for us to actively gauge this. I saw a preview of someone did of the Boston Uprising, right? I mean, it was a fantastic video, fine.
Yeah.
I didn't agree with a lot of what he was saying, and the problem I have is we just don't have access to the data levels. We don't know what these scrim results are like. We don't like I saw Twitter from the Dallas Fuel said was it December 4th, which was yesterday, I think levels. They had their first practice yesterday.
Yeah, okay. See, that's sort of concerning for me when you're at this stage of the game, you're like, well, we're starting to practice. Like, I'm sorry,
The first full team practice, because I think Effect was slow getting into town. Probably visa issues, if I had to guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, probably. Well, you'd see if he had to go to Mexico or something. I doubt it. But
so I actually want to take the whole individual team thing later on towards the end of the year, going into the regular season. But for right now, a brief preview, Lepelos. We've got a few games on the docket here. Let's just take a look at it. Starting right now, we have the Florida Mayhem playing the San Francisco Shock. This was supposed to be the Philadelphia Fusion. Sadly, Philadelphia doesn't have a team. San Francisco stepped up, says we got you, and now this is the result. Looking at this,
What are your initial thoughts on this one,
my
Jax?
initial thoughts is I want to see what Logix is like at a LAN. I'm still not sold on him, Lepelos. We know that he can play, right? We've seen him play, but Tracer is so important in the high level play, and that's what this is. Overwatch League. There's supposed to be no level higher than this right now, Lepelos. If Logix cannot produce, they have a problem because they have no backup, Lepelos. They have 6 players.
Yeah,
There's no one, you're gonna go to the bullpen, right?
yeah.
There's no one there, Lepelos.
So my initial thoughts is like because they've been so strong in the past and they've played tightly in the past, they're probably going to come out stronger than how they're going to end up over
Okay.
the entire season, right? So I wouldn't be surprised in the preseason that they show up pretty decently, as other teams are still like coalescing themselves together. Florida Mayhem, I think will have an advantage off the start for that, but I am worried about them over the long term. So here in the
I
preseason,
expect
I think
them
they'll be
to
doing okay.
I expect them to win this preseason match against the San Francisco Shock. San Francisco
So,
Shock, I look at this team and I just want to I say team. I want to see them as a team, Lepelos. When you look at this roster, keep in mind we have to put Sinatra and Super to the side, Lepelos. They're not 18 years old. They're not eligible to play at this time. So you got IDDQD, Baby Bay, Dante, Nomi, Dak, Sleepy, and Nevix.
yeah.
One, first off, let's look at the tank, Nomi. Nothing against the guy. I'm not sold on him as an Overwatch League main tank, Lepelos. I go back to his time at Immortals. Not that he played bad. He was just okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely not impressed right now. Too impressed with the San Francisco Shock team. Like I like they're definitely pros. Don't get me wrong.
Lepelos, who's playing the diva?
I think it's going to be a close game between Florida and
Who's
San
playing the
Francisco
diva,
Shock here.
Lepelos?
I'm not sure. I'm not. Maybe they won't have a diva. Maybe they'll be like Diva's not meta. We're gonna play Roadhog
I
Zarya.
mean,
But
this is the so where I have where my problem with Misfits was lack of depth because they literally have no one else. I say Misfits for Florida was lack of depth. It's the same thing here. I look at this team and I just don't see a team here. Dak and Sleepy on support.
oh,
That's fine.
Jackson.
They're
That's why when I look at the team, like okay, so Florida Mayhem because they're a little bit tighter. I think that's why they'll get this game. Other game they're playing immediately after against Los Angeles Valiant. I've got to give that one to the Valiant as well for taking that over San Francisco Shock, almost for a similar reason, right? Like
we haven't seen the Valiant / Immortals since that disastrous contender season level.
this
I
is
mean,
true.
there's no other way to say it, right? Where they then bring in Soon, they brought in Unco, they brought in Numlocked. I still question that last one, but hey, the man's got a paycheck, he can feed his family now. Props to him for taking care of his business. I need to see them play as a team. Like, whereas the San Francisco Shock, I don't think they have the players to make a team. Valiant, Los Angeles Valiant, they have the players, right?
Yeah.
They have the DPS, the supports, the tanks, the flex. Can they play together?
That's a hard question, and I would expect with a team with that kind of different amounts of nationalities would have a larger coaching staff. But Jax, I'm not actually. Well, I don't know how large their staff is, but they've got to be doing work. Hopefully, they will for the
Lepelos,
preseason. But it's hard to know.
I think part of the issue that we were all wondering was how was the communication, because you had the Americans, well I say Americans, you had the Westerners with agilities and Grim on DPS, right? You had the Koreans, and now, well, let's just throw in 2 Frenchmen.
Yeah, it's
And
definitely interesting, but
I want to see them play. I mean, Silk Thread, I think that's a huge pickup for them. Silk Thread
yeah,
has always been impressive. Um, some overlap with him and Grim Reality. So I'm honestly looking at this and I'm saying, as much as I like Grim, I'm afraid of him being phased out here, Lepelos, because of some of the players that they brought in. Soom's Tracer is
Absolutely.
better than Grim Tracer. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah,
Silk
absolutely.
Threat hit scan on Soldier, I think, probably better than Grim's.
So is Grim
Or
just a
we
McCree only at this point, Jax?
how is McCree a must have right now,
No, it's
Lepelos?
absolutely not a must-have. It's like I guess I'll go to it sometimes if I'm having fun. Pick right now, and that's a concern.
Lepelos, this Overwatch League,
That
20
that's
million fun.
that's why it's not a must pick. Anyways,
Okay,
Jax.
well, one last thing, Lepelos.
Okay,
Do you start Unco or Kareev on support?
it depends on how your communication is working
On the scrim
internally right now.
results, which we don't know about?
Yeah, we have no idea, so it's hard.
Okay.
It's hard to know. I think they'll probably start Creve if I had to guess, but
So you're taking the Valiant over the Shock at the very least.
yes, I am taking Valiant over the Shock. Jax, for me, basically here on out for the remaining 4 games, it's sort of quick to discuss.
Quick.
Yeah.
Lepelos, I don't know. What do you mean quick?
Okay, so Shanghai Dragons
Okay.
versus Seoul Dynasty. Like, you think that one's going to be close with the team of Shanghai Dragons, like that they've put together from the Chinese teams? Maybe not that bad, but when you look at the side of Seoul Dynasty, it's just a powerhouse.
I expect a beat down here from
Yep.
the Seoul Dynasty. That being said, Lepelos, I want this. I mean, here's the deal: Shanghai Dragons, you paid your 20 million. You did what I want. I can't say you did, but there's been some questioning of some of the backroom dealings that the Shanghai Dragons did, right? But this
Yeah.
is the team that they came up with. Um, you can't just roll over here, Lepelos. You've got to fight.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. Like
It's
previously,
it's not going to be a fight here though, Jax. Like, let's be honest. Like we just talked about.
You don't think so?
No, it's not going to be that close of a fight between Seoul Dynasty and Shanghai Dragons. I think this one is going to be a pretty harsh win. I think Seoul Dynasty, if anything, might try some different things to not reveal any strategies.
Do they cut them some slack, Lepelos?
Yeah, I think they will, and I think they'll still beat them. I think that's how this one's going to go. Jax.
I look at this. I don't think you're wrong. Because see,
Yeah. Just
I'm trying to figure out how Shanghai makes this work and not be embarrassed. And I think they get destroyed.
I think
Sorry,
so
I
too.
just
Well,
I
but
just think they get destroyed.
well, how do you feel about the next matchup then? London Spitfires versus LA Gladiators.
Lepelos, this is sad for me because I'm leaning towards. I live in Los Angeles. I've got 2 teams. I'm partial to the purple of the Gladiators than that green, gold, yellow thing that the Valiant have. I also don't like the Mercy motif they've got flying around over there. So I'm leaning towards being a Gladiator fan myself.
Yeah.
Probably give me a Gladiator hat, nice.
Well, Jax, here, I think the Gladiators, and I'm going to use this one obviously all the time that happens, they're going to die in the ring here versus the London Spitfires, who are going to rain down from above on them in another pretty decisive victory here for a former Korean team.
I look at this team. I mean, the potential for the Gladiators is there, Lepelos. But like all the other ones, we haven't seen them play as a complete unit yet. We've seen pieces of them. Bishu and iRemix, we know they play well together. But iRemix has that questionable toe issue. He missed the game because he broke a toe at one
Our
point,
favorite.
Lepelos. So, hopefully he's come
favorite.
back from that. Shaz and Big Goose on support. I like them.
Yep.
A solid support duo here. They did well with NIP, RIP. What did they end up with? Gigante, right? Is that right? NIP went into RIP, went into Gigante.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so solid. But see, you're going from an all Finnish team, Lepelos, and that culture to a team with 2 Koreans, with Westerners, and you're from the outside. You're looking at it, you're saying, can they make this work? Right? Do the cultures mix well, Lepelos? Surefour, you yourself, Surefour is Canadian, right? He's your guy. You expressed some concern and doubt about him going to the World Cup and the level of play he would play at levels. I mean,
he played well.
I'm not sure did he meet your expectations?
I say he played well.
He played as well as you think he can, or as he should have.
I mean, he didn't have a standout performance. I'll put it that way. Like if
Okay.
Canada won, it would be him and agilities would have had to be going off all the time. But
But
they played well, which is above average, is what
as
I mean.
well, but Lepelos, this is Overwatch League. You're
Yeah.
giving me above average?
I don't think he's gonna be the difference maker when it comes to this matchup here against London
Okay, what
Spitfire.
about hydration then, Lepelos? We've
Absolutely
seen
not.
plenty of hydration.
Unless he's leveled up his game from what we've last seen him, is not going to be there. Jax, let's go ahead and discuss the next game, though. We have the Battle of Texas going on
Just running them over. Okay.
between Dallas Fuel and Houston Outlaws.
Okay.
Dallas Fuel, I think, has the momentum from their envious days and the attitude there that will carry them through this matchup. I think it can be a pretty close one.
About a lot of Houston being FNRGFE, so they've played together. They
Yep.
brought in Lynxers, as it Mindo Kusai unable to play. Dallas not having the most practice time. By the way, Levels, for me, a bit disappointing to see that they're still doing this. Envy, and I mean, yes, Envy got away with it sometimes.
Yeah.
They tend to go into these tournaments unprepared. I mean, they make it work because of their sheer raw talent and Coach Kaikai's, immense ability to coach here. But just once, Lepelos, can they go into something
Yeah.
where they've been,
Like,
they're over the
practiced.
ball here, man? Like.
I mean, I don't think they can, Jax. You look at Taimu; he gets tired of the game before long. You don't want to burn him out like in the preseason.
Okay.
So I don't know. And for that reason, I think this will actually be a somewhat close game. I actually do like the Houston Outlaws, a number of their players. Do I like the lineup as an overall lineup? It's all right. It's good. It's going to be a strong team.
Let me ask you something, Lepelos. Just taking a quick look at the Houston Outlaws roster here, right?
Yeah.
Who on this team is going to stop Effect? Let's be honest. To beat Dallas, you're going to have to deal with that Tracer.
Yeah. That's a good
Who
question.
on this team is going to deal with it?
Well, you're not going to win the Tracer v Tracer with anything you've got there.
Okay.
I'll put it that way.
Okay.
You're absolutely not. So you're talking about team play in order to deal with the Tracer. That gets a little bit more work on your supports and your tanks, which good tanks on the side of Outlaws.
My boy
Their support
Coolmat
also pretty good
Lepelos.
too. Yeah, Cool Mat's on there. Particularly Cool Mat. Spree also another good Zarya player.
I mean,
Why-
Lepelos,
why would you
the
do that,
concern that I
Muma?
have here is you're telling me you can't deal with Effect in a Tracer v Tracer. Okay, fine. But Taimu is no slouch, Lepelos.
No, I know.
Arguably best hit scan in the world. You bring in Seagull, top notch
So
projectile player, Lepelos.
my biggest concern for Outlaws is their DPS here, which is Mendo, Jake, and Clockwork. Great players.
Mendo's not, and I told you, Mendo's probably in Mexico or something right now.
If Mendo's not playing, then we're talking Clockwork and Linkser and Jake probably, right?
Lepelos,
So,
we've been,
I don't know.
we said this about Linkster before. Consistency. He did that.
Well,
He did that with
Clockwork-
Gigante, right? He was consistent with them. They won contenders off of a lot of what he did.
yeah.
Is that going to continue here with Houston?
I don't think. Well, off the start here, I'm not sure what to expect out, so it's hard to talk about consistency
Okay.
when I have no idea how they've been doing.
Fair enough.
Anywhere soon. So I can't really talk about that, Jax. What I can say is my general feeling is, despite the lack of practice, I think Dallas Fuel will take it in the end, but I think it will be a close matchup between those two teams. Bringing us into the
Okay.
final matchup we're going to talk about, Jax. New York Excelsior versus Boston Uprising.
I'm looking forward to this.
Are you?
Lepelos, I want to see Boston. I
They've
want to see.
they've had a lot of talk. I think they're just sort of chucking that out there more than having follow up at this point. I don't know. Everyone's bad mouthing them. I need to see how they perform because my first impressions are not very impressed with their lineup.
I saw a video that while I didn't agree with a lot of what it said, it did open my eyes to a few things. Again, you have to look at this roster and you just have to say, how does it work, Lepelos? You've got
That's the problem.
Koreans, you've got a Russian, you've got Americans, Canadians. What is this flag here? Is this Mexico? Oh, sorry. Wait, Ethiopia? I had no
Snow?
idea Snow was from Ethiopia.
Is that for real? I didn't know. If he was,
Denmark. I mean, so
so they're running basically the UN when you're talking
that's
about
Dallas.
the
No, Lepelos, you
Boston
can't
here.
do that, Lepelos. Dallas has already claimed that. Dallas has already claimed the UN title.
Is this a League of Nations then, the precursor that didn't really last for too long? Because that's how I'm sort of feeling about it. But no, in all honesty, here, Boston Uprising, they have to prove themselves, and they have to prove themselves quickly. if they want to earn fans, because right now they haven't earned their fans based off of their player selections.
I mean, this to me, Boston. When I look at Boston, I put a lot on their coaches because this looks like a
Yes.
mismatch that has to be sorted out and fine tuned. I know I mean
And
we've
it
got
looks
Krusty head coach. I mean they listen. They've got 3 coaches and an analyst. I still wish Shake was actually playing because Shake was a fantastic support player.
I didn't realize, by the way, Jax, that Shake's name was Jackson
Yeah,
Kaplan.
he's another JK. Yeah,
Are you kidding me?
another
with this?
JK.
Are you,
Yeah.
this is ridiculous. Somebody do something about these Kaplans propagating their
But
way
then
through Overwatch. But
Doubles, you take a look at New York, right? There's no Flower. It's fine. Might as well take him off the table, right?
yeah, he's not on the
Considered the
table.
world's best player. Still left with a lot here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
Pine, Libero.
Sabalbi? Like, are you kidding me with their DPS? Like, you take Flower off the table, you still have those 3. Like, I'm sorry, you're still gonna do fine
Lepelos. The
on your
tanks
DPS
here of Janus and Mono, that's a solid tank lineup.
Yep.
From what I'm hearing, this Jay Jonak guy, monster support player off the Korean ladder, Lepelos. I don't have any data on him.
Yeah. So the biggest question for me here, because I don't know them, is both Jay Jonak and Ark, right? Like, the
Support
2
rather
support
important right
roles,
now, don't
and
you
you
think?
only have the 2 support roles right now on your team, Jax. So, that might be where your weakness is if you're on the side of New York Excelsior. But I think they're gonna win probably pretty soundly against Boston Uprising.
Lepelos,
Jax, how
don't
are
be
there no other
surprised.
games listed?
I see you beat me to it. I was just about to say I figured that Wikipedia just hadn't updated yet with the schedule, so I went by the OverwatchLeague.com website, Lepelos. The schedule for Friday, December 8th and Saturday, December 9th appears to be empty.
They have
So
all
while I
this.
wanted to have
Jax,
more preview here, Lepelos, there's nothing I can do because there are no games listed.
you're telling me with all this effort to make sure they have all this control over their product, and they do crap like this in the preseason already?
Lepelos.
Like, the fact that Fusion isn't going to be there, right? The fact that there are unlisted games within the week that you're supposed to be showing them.
The
What is
Fusion
going
not
on with
being
this?
there have probably upset things. That being said, Lepelos, there are. I mean, if they plan on having another 6 games, there are the potential matchups here. Okay, here's the thing though. Do they want to? They don't want to show the really good stuff right now, right? The first game of the actual regular season is what, Dallas Fuel versus Seoul Dynasty, I
Yeah,
think, right?
no.
That's what they want to save it for the regular season here.
You just
Lepelos.
have Boston
So,
Uprising play every single team. That's what you do.
I mean, but
Like, no, I'm sorry about that, but that's a bad joke. But
I'm looking at someone like the Shanghai Dragons, right? And I'm saying to myself, okay, first game against Seoul, that's unfortunate. But I want to see how they would do against, say, the San Francisco Shock Lepelos, a team
Yeah.
I have some issues with, or say Shanghai versus the Los Angeles Gladiators.
yeah,
That's something that I would like to see. Hopefully, Nate Nanzer. I shouldn't say hopefully. I know Nate Nanzer is listening right now, Lepelos. I already know
obviously.
he is in fact listening. He'll
The-
probably send
there-
me a text here in a
yeah,
few minutes.
no worries about
Um,
it. In fact, Jax, they're talking about a preview show coming out for the Overwatch League. I'm just saying it's on a Tuesday. Our show's on a Tuesday.
Really?
I'm not in any talks, but you know how big we are here on the Overwatch Rundown.
I gotta get in touch
Surely
with
he's
my
heard
agent.
about us, and he's probably thinking.
So
Tuesday
I'm already
nights
in
about
LA.
Overwatch
Like
Rundown.
there's no relocation costs, man.
Yeah,
like
no, it makes
I
sense.
don't really want
right?
to drive to Burbank because the drive from where I live to Burbank is a nightmare. Where the studio is, but
And
you know,
and we can't have these non-controlled podcasts getting out of hand. We got to bring them in-house, right?
Douglas, you used a rather a bad expletive early on in the episode. Go back and bleep that out. You couldn't do that if you worked for Blizzard.
That is true. We'd have to G-rate ourselves and basically do things within Disney songs format in the future. But that's not what we're doing here on the Overwatch Rundown. We're remaining independent because nobody's talking to us about money.
Well,
And
then,
that's
Douglas,
okay.
if we're remaining independent, we don't have to just focus on the Overwatch League. We acknowledge that there are things outside of the Overwatch League.
That
And I'm
there
looking
are.
at what's coming next week. Yes, we've got the preseason preview. We've got Nexus Cup. We have, Lepelos, the Overwatch Campeonato Brasileiro
Jax,
Grand Finals.
I see you pointed this out here. Is this what we're going to lead off? What we've all been waiting for here in North America? No. Okay, let's not get
Lepelos,
ourselves.
this tournament started August 17th.
It's finally coming to a wrap. I'm glad it's coming to a wrap. But
Because you say that it's the end of an era. Keep gaming their final game.
yeah, it's definitely be interesting to pay attention to. We'll be there for that. That's not the only thing though. We also have the Go 4 Overwatch European Monthly for November.
Oh,
Jax?
by the way, I do want to
November?
point out we had the Go For Weekly number. What was it? 79 a couple
Okay.
days ago or last night. Lepelos Oompa Loompas taking the victory right there.
Ooh,
Another up and coming
yeah.
team. You know they've been in the mix in the Go For European scene for the last few weeks. We don't like. We know the teams that are going to be in the monthly for the Go For, but we don't know what the brackets are going to look like yet.
Yeah. So we'll keep our eye on what happens over that one.
Probably
over
give
next
this a rundown. Probably not full coverage, Lepelos.
Yeah, it'll be a run on our rundown coverage next week. In 2 weeks out, Jax, I'm just going to mention this. We have that Overwatch Rumble going down where I think there's been a couple changes.
Has there?
Wasn't there like I think we were talking about that earlier this week, where a couple players have been moved in for blank or something that are going to be there.
If I find something up, I'll link it on our Discord.
Yes.
The link to the Discord is not on the Twitter yet, I think, but I think probably tonight or tomorrow we will have that up. I mean, honestly, Lepelos and I, we normally most of the time we should talk on Steam, but Steam doesn't save things, right? So now we're on the Discord. I think it was Lepelos' Hideaway.
That's what it's named right now.
Are you hiding,
because it was so unused for so long, but it's a good place for us to chat now and
if you want to join us, stop by. Talk Overwatch with us. Explain to Lepelos why Surefour needs to be rated higher than he currently has him.
Explain to Jax why people use Torbjorn on Nibani defense.
How much time did it buy, Lepelos?
Jax, that time I don't think it bought any time, man. It was pretty
garbage,
bad.
Dude.
It
Absolute
bought
garbage.
0 seconds.
But, all right. Is there anything else we need to do?
I think that's pretty much it for this week in terms of housekeeping stuff, guys. So that's it for the podcast this week.
What is it? At OW Rundown, where you can find us, and hopefully sometime rather soon find a link to our Discord. He's at Lepelos. Again, anything Surefour related, talk to him. At Jax_Blake for me. Should I go with the Gladiators, Lepelos, and fans, or should I go with the Valiant? I said I'm liking the purple, so I'm leaning towards the Gladiators. Hopefully they won't let me down this week, but that's how you can reach us. Also, twitch.tv/Lepelos every Tuesday night, 9:10 p.m. Pacific. If you look up YouTube, you just Google YouTube Lepelos. I'm sure it'll be there as well. This is episode 65. 65. Okay, wow. And I think that's it. Exit music now, Lepelos, or should I wait? What do you think?
He thinks I'm not playing the exit music. Of course I'm playing the exit music.